I bow to Supreme Almighty God. I bow to saints and sages of all the religions. I bow to the lineage of Kriya Yoga masters. Bow to Gurudev, Paramhamsa Hariharananda ji, and I bow to Guruji, Paramhamsa Pragyanananda ji. I bow to the living power of God abiding within us all. Om Sahana Vavatu Sahana Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karava Vahai Tejasvinavaditamastu Ma Vidvisavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Okay, today's talk is Kriya Yoga in the light of Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga, and Bhakti Yoga. Basically, there are three types of lives or three categories of lives. One is plants and trees, another one is animals and birds, third one is human being. And the human being is the most advanced categories of life. But all these three categories of life have 8 things in common. They have body, they have mind, they have intellect, they need food to eat, they need to sleep, they have fear, they have desire for sexual life, and they have desire to love and to be loved. So these are the 8 things which are common among all of them. But God has created man in his own image. He has given him the supreme skill to think and to create, which no other lower form of life has. And using this skill or using this intellect, human being has made many technological advances, and he has created all the comforts for his life. But with all these comforts, he can enjoy the external world, but that happiness is not forever. That happiness is only temporary. So to get a permanent happiness, he has to go within and to try to find that the highest kind of happiness. But human being has not done that yet, except few of them. But most of the people in this world have not attained that state of permanent happiness, everlasting joy and happiness. So we have used the intellect for material comfort, but there is another dimension of intelligence, because God is supreme intelligence. There is another dimension to this supreme intelligence, which is consciousness. So we have not used consciousness to find that highest happiness, because when we enjoy the material objects, we enjoy them only through mind. And God is not in the mind, God is beyond mind. Or in other words, the highest happiness you can gain only when you go beyond mind or beyond thoughts. Because the very nature of the mind is to be restless. Very nature of the mind is not to be satisfied with anything. So when we enjoy with the mind all these worldly objects, we are not happy forever. but God is beyond mind. So when we attain that higher state, or when we go beyond our mind and find God, we attain the highest happiness forever, for eternity. When we reach that state, we will know the mystery of the entire universe. There's nothing that we would not know. Everything will be known to us, and we will feel that highest happiness. So, but as Swami Vivekananda said, that man looking for God or looking for the highest happiness went all around the world. He went to temples, he went to synagogue, he went to uh, churches to find God. But after completing the full circle, he came back to where he started from. So God is not outside, he is within. Now, um, there are many ways or many techniques, many paths to reach that highest state of happiness. Three basic yogas are called Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga, and Bhakti Yoga. Or Karma Yoga is path of action. So when they practice Karma Yoga alone, no other type of yoga, just Karma Yoga, they dedicate all their activities, all their work, duties to family, to job, to their life and others' life. They dedicate everything to God, expecting nothing in return, without any expectations. So that is basically the Karma Yoga. Then comes Jnana Yoga. Jnana Yoga, um, Karma Yoga is called um, path of action. Jnana Yoga is path of knowledge. And Jnana Yoga is the path of intellectual discrimination. We try to determine whatever is changing is not me. So uh, my mind is changing, my body is changes. So I'm not mind, I'm not body. So by negation, we try to find out who we really are. And we try to contemplate where I came from. When I die, I'm not going to live forever. When I die, where will I go? Why am I attached to so many things? So through this contemplation, we try to people following this Jnana Yoga try to find God. And the third one is path of love and devotion. Those people following this Bhakti Yoga, path of love and devotion, they love God. They chanting God's name or singing God's name or remaining in the thought of God all the time, they try to develop love for God. And through this love for God, they find highest happiness. Now, let us understand these three types of yoga through Kriya Yoga. Kriya Yoga in the so to understand Kriya Yoga, let me first give you one verse from Yoga Sutra Patanjali, chapter number 2, verse number 1. It says, Tapaha Swadhyaya Ishvara Pranidhanani Kriya Yoga. It says, Kriya Yoga is the integration of Tapaha. Tapa means Karma Yoga. Tapaha Swadhyaya Jnana Yoga, and Ishvara Pranidhanani is the path of love and devotion. So it says Kriya Yoga is the integration of all these three yogas. Now, so when we practice Kriya Yoga, we do our regular meditation. At the same time, we try to do tapa. That means we perform our duty towards our family, towards our job, towards other people. We perform this duty and with the best way we can, and dedicate the result of our action to God without expecting anything in return. But tapa also means discipline. We try to discipline ourselves to meditate every day, because the spiritual battery should be charged every day. Otherwise, when we go out in the external world, it is drained when we come in contact with people with so many different energy levels. So we have to recharge the battery, and for that, we need to discipline ourselves. Another meaning of tapa is burn, to raise the temperature. So that means tapa is the process through which we burn all our impurities, make our mind pure, filled with love and knowledge. Tapa also means generating the internal fire, internal temperature, generating the energy. So through this, we burn our ego and we burn the seeds of our karma. Now, one thing we have to remember, that many people, almost everybody in this world, suffer a lot. From many ways they suffer. And the main reason for this suffering is nothing but their own karma that they have created in so many past lives. Because of their desires for worldly things, because of the impurities, because of the negative things they have done in their previous lives, they create negative karma, and because of that, they suffer in this life. So when we do tapaha, that's when we do the Kriya Yoga techniques, particularly Kriya Pranayama, it raises the temperature, it raises the internal heat in the body, and the energy that starts flowing in the mind will burn all our past karma. And as the past karma is being burned, as we go through the process of Kriya Yoga meditation, as we progress on this path of Kriya Yoga, this seeds of karma are burned. And when that happens, we feel more peace and happiness in our life as we progress on spiritual path. Paramahansa Yogananda said that one cycle of Kriya Yoga, if properly done, it burns 1 year of our negative karma. So Kriya Yoga becomes very powerful, and this particularly this Kriya Pranayam is a very powerful technique to burn our past karma. When the past karmas are burned, we start finding peace and happiness, because we suffer because of our karma only. So in Kriya Yoga, there are 7 planes of existence, and our 7 chakras are related to these 7 planes of existence. And the 6th plane of existence is the soul center, which is called tapa. Uh, Plane of existence is tapa, and then Satyaloka. So Tapaloka and Satyaloka is the fontanel. So by introverting our restless mind, we focus into this Tapaloka or Satyaloka and try to do inner search to find and try to become united with God. So that process is also called tapa. Then second one is Swadhyaya. Swadhyaya means scriptural studies, japa, chanting, and self-inquiry. So people read spiritual books, but reading spiritual book is not real swadhyaya. Real swadhyaya is to do the self-inquiry. So we again focus in the Tapaloka or Satyaloka and do the swadhyaya. Who am I? Where I came from? Why am I attached to so many things? How can I become free from attachment? That kind of self-inquiry is the real swadhyaya. So scripture studies only gives um, theoretical understanding. But when we do self-inquiry within in this Tapaloka or Satyaloka, we we can progress spiritually and become free from attachments. The third one is Isvara Pranidhanani. Isvara Pranidhanani means it means love, divine love and devotion towards God. So now we all have love, but our love is not unconditional love. It is a conditional love. We expect something in return. So now we have to if we want to progress spiritually, we have to transform our conditional love into unconditional love. Because our love goes, when it goes downwards towards the bottom three chakras, um, money, sex, and food center, it creates vasana, it creates passion, and that happiness we get is temporary happiness. It is unripe happiness. But in order to really love people, we have to move this love. It has to flow upwards towards higher centers, which will uh, transform us, and it will give us divine love. It will transform our ordinary love into divine love, and it will become all-encompassing love. So that comes slowly, gradually, with the practice of Kriya Yoga. Now, so these are the three, and again, there are three paths we said. Basic path of spirituality, Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga, and Bhakti Yoga. When they are practiced alone by themselves, we can reach God, but it takes much, much longer time. Because, as I said before, to reach God, we have to purify our mind. So, we try to purify our mind to do by tapaha, by dedicating all our action to God and Gurus. We try to purify the mind through self-inquiry or by love and devotion. But it takes much longer time in the pure form, when we do that just by itself. But in Kriya Yoga, as the sage says, that it is the integration of all these three types of yoga. So when we do Kriya Bhav, when we do Mahamudra, when we do Kriya Pranayama, Jyoti Mudra, we are doing action. We are doing our action through this kind of techniques. So, and these techniques are based on our what we call the depend based on the activation of the chakras, activation of the various spiritual channels, Ida, Pingala, Susumna, pituitary gland, cranial nerves, pineal gland. So we activate all these chakras and all these spiritual channels by performing Kriya Bhav and Kriya Pranayam Jyoti Mudra. So these internal channels and chakras are directly connected to super consciousness or to infinite consciousness of God. So that way, and when we do all the three together, it really enhances our spiritual progress. And it becomes much faster because in ordinary course of evolution, to reach the highest state of spirituality takes a very long time, about 400,000 lifetimes. When we try to reach God, purify our mind, and try to reach God through this Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga, and Bhakti Yoga, it doesn't take that long. It still takes a little longer time because it takes time to purify our mind when we practice these three yoga by themselves. But Kriya Yoga, when we use our internal organs also to generate the energy in the body and to activate these chakras and this pineal gland, pituitary gland, then it becomes much quicker, much faster way of reaching God. Now, particularly, okay, Bhakti Yoga. Let's talk a little bit about Bhakti Yoga because there's a part of love and devotion. So God is infinite consciousness, but how to love God? Because God is abstract, and it is not easy to love God when He is in abstract form. Uh, we cannot even imagine the infinite consciousness until the moment of realization. But it is much easier for us to relate God in the form. So let us go to the gross phenomena, gross level, and let us take any spiritual being like Rama, Krishna, Jesus Christ, or great saint like um, Ramakrishna Paramhans. So they have actually lived in the body on this earth. They have, so we can learn about them by reading books. We can love them, we can serve them, and we can try to spread that message. So when we do this thing, when we um, try to use the use our uh, activity for higher ideals, the lower laws, lower um, um, lower our duties and activities, they all follow from us, and it will give us much quickly the state of non-attachment. So it is much easier to love them. So one way to develop love for our develop our love for these spiritual beings is to first examine our life and see who do we feel more pure and divine love. Not really divine, but we actually feel much deeper love towards who. In our relationship, do we feel our love towards our father, mother, or our friend, or our beloved, our husband or wife? We can try to determine who do we feel more love towards. Now, once we determine that we feel love towards a particular relationship, then we can direct love towards God in that relationship. Then our love towards God will flow very freely, very easily. Like Jesus Christ, he loved God as a father, my heavenly father, he used to say. Ramakrishna Paramahamsa, for him, father was divine mother. For Saint Mirabai in the 15th century, for her, God was her beloved. So we have to find our own way that who do we love more, and then love God in that relationship so our love can flow very freely towards God. And it is extremely important uh, to meditate with love because God Himself is love. If you don't feel love during meditation, how can we find God? But it takes time to develop that love. But if we with the continuous practice of meditation, as we progress spiritually, we will start feeling that love within ourselves, that pure and divine love. And this love is so important that Patanjali, he wrote the book which is called Yoga Sutra of Patanjali. But he has emphasized divine love, devotion, and uh, surrender to God even much more than yoga itself. So if you go read his book, we can see that in verse number 23, in the first chapter, he says, Iswara pranidhanatva. Samadhi can be attained by through surrender to God. Then verse number 1 in chapter 2, he says, Tapa swadhyaya iswara pranidhanani kriya yoga, which we just discussed. So kriya yoga is the integration of discipline, self-inquiry, and love and devotion to God. Then in verse number 32, chapter 2, he is saying that Saucha, Santosa, Tapaha, Swadhyaya, Iswara Prani Dhanani, Niyamaha. He says uh, discipline. He says Saucha. Saucha means purity, contentment, um, then the discipline, inquiry, self-inquiry, and love and devotion to God are niyamas. Also in verse number 45, chapter 2, he says, Samadhi Siddhi Isvara Pranidhanat. He says, through surrender to God, one can attain the success or perfection in Samadhi. So we can see from all these verses, we can see that one thing becomes very clear, that one should intensely, one should intensify, one should intensify deep love and surrender to God in order to get realization. So it is very important to meditate with love that can really enhance our spiritual progress. Now, um, out of these three basic paths of yoga, particularly this Jnana Yoga is the most subtle and dangerous path. Because Jnana Yoga is the path of intellectual discrimination. So when we go through this intellectual discrimination, and in Jnana Yoga, we don't pay any attention to love or devotion. It is just intellectual discrimination without love or devotion. And we can find God. We can reach the highest state of yoga just following this path of intellectual discrimination, Jnana Yoga. But it is a dangerous path because person, seeker can suddenly find himself um, in the possession of psychic powers. And because he's because of his ego, because of his desire, he's not purified. So he is more likely to misuse those those psychic powers. And when he misses, it will be a downfall. So those people, very few people have followed the path of Jnana Yoga, but out of them, most of them fell down because it is a dangerous path because of this reason. But very few, very brave souls have found God just following intellectual discrimination. But there are very few like that. You know, there was one master, Sadguru Nigamananda. He went to a Gnana yogi. His guru was a Gnana yogi. So he stayed with him and he was trying to find God, progress spiritually using intellectual discrimination. But after some time, his guru told him to go away to and find some yoga guru who can, through that yoga, path of yoga, he can very much find God much quickly. So, but he asked his, but he asked his guru that, you found God through Jnana Yoga, why can I not? Can I not? He says, it took me a long, long time, and it will also take a long time, and there are so many pitfalls in this path. So try to find God through yoga. So now, and when we have love and devotion, it leads us, it makes us, gives us humility, and it gives us the desire to serve. And because of that humility, we become free from our ego, our negative qualities, and then we may possess psychic powers. So we are much more less likely to use these psychic powers. Now, but in Patanjali Yoga Sutra, we see that he is also written about Ashtanga Yoga, eight, um, 8 limbs of yoga. So the first 5 limbs he has discussed in chapter number 2, which is called Sadhana Pada. And then limbs 6, 7, and 8 he has discussed in the 3rd chapter, which is Vibhuti Pada. Now, it starts with so verse number, limb number 5, 6, 7, and 8. 6 is dharana, 7 dhyana, and 8 is samadhi. So now let us understand these 3 and how we try to reach this dharana, dhyana, and samadhi in our Kriya Yoga. So, uh, dharana means concentration. Dhyana means meditation, and samadhi is the God realization. Now, he says that in this, that verse is that that's limb number 6 is Desabandha Chittasya Dharana. He says this concentration is the fixity of mind on a specific point. So dharana leads us to the inner chamber of yoga. Now, human mind is very restless by nature. It can be compared to the diffused light of sun. But this diffused light of sun can be concentrated through convex lens and it can generate fire. Similarly, our mind is very restless. Thoughts are going in all different directions, but we can gather all the thoughts together, direct them towards one point. And when we direct all our thoughts, thoughts are nothing but energy. It is proven scientifically. So when this all the energy going dissipating in different directions, when we bring together at one point and direct towards the one point, it generates tremendous amount of energy. So according to sage Patanjali, concentration is the art of confining the mind in the limited mental area. Now, the verse is Desa Bandha. Desa means can be defined as place or space or spot. Um, so, and this place can be external, internal, or mystical. So we have to find our own way of finding this particular place to concentrate. Now, I'll give you some examples. The external place of concentration includes a dot on the wall, a flame of candle in undisturbed place, a form of a deity or divine incarnation like Rama, Krishna, Jesus Christ, the mystical or abstract, not mystical, but abstract point of place of concentration can be flower, mountain, ocean, river. It can be like that. And then internal place of concentration include fixing the mind on pain and pleasure, or to some such state, like this. And then mystical or metaphorical place of concentration include the 7 chakras, heart of devotee, mantra, flow of breath, divine sound. So this can be the mystical places of concentration. So we have to choose, or we have to find our own method where to concentrate. In Kriya Yoga, particularly in Kriya Yoga, where we concentrate in our breath, because breath is God, or it is direct perceptible God. Or we concentrate in divine sound, or we concentrate in the light which we see within. So in Kriya Yoga, we do that. Now, in Sutra number 242, I think 253, Sage says that Dharana Sutra Yogyataha Manasaha. Through the practice of Kriya Pranayama, the mind can be made fit to concentrate. So he says that through the practice of pranayama, one can develop the power of concentration. And through this enhanced state of concentration, we can have many experiences. So Guruji says in his book, I think if you read his book, Yoga Sutra Patanjali's interpretation, he says, "O seeker, the mind is cause of the trouble, but the same mind can become an instrument for peace and calmness." He says, practice Kriya Pranayama as taught by Guru. Through this, mind can become calm and steady. And because of this, it opens up the door to success. So it is extremely important. Again, you can see Kriya Pranayama is so important to attain the power of concentration, because attaining mind is so restless, it has so many impurities, so many desires, it has so much karma from many past lives. So to clean all that up, it takes time. So, but when we practice Kriya Pranayama, our progress towards purification of the mind is enhanced considerably. So that is very important to keep in mind. Now, the limb number 7, it is dhyana. Dhyana means meditation. So it says tatra pratyaya ektatanata dhyanam. So concentration is the continuous, uninterrupted flow of knowledge. So dhyana is as two parts. Dhya means thought, na means no. So dhyana means no thought. So in a simple way, it could be said that when there are many thoughts, it is mind. When there are few limited thoughts, it is concentration, and no thought means meditation. So we can take another analogy. Let's take faucet. When we open the faucet, the water flows. That is mind, because flow of thought. Now when we turn off the faucet, and if the faucet is leaky, and one drop comes down, another drop comes down, third drop comes down. So that is like a few thoughts in the mind. So that is concentration. When we fix that faucet and we stop the leak, then it becomes, there is no water, not even a drop comes out, and that is a no thought state meditation. So as meditation is a no thought state, it is difficult to describe it. Meditation is a state, it is not a technique. So meditation can be, it is to be experienced, it cannot be expressed. What does it mean? It is to be experienced and not to be expressed. But remember what we said, that God is not in the mind, He is not in the thought, He is beyond thought, beyond mind. So in order to find God, we have to go beyond mind. So when we find God, when we go beyond mind, we cannot explain, and that is meditation, and we cannot explain what we experience through our mind, because we experience that when we went beyond mind. And suppose by some miracle, if we can explain this to people, what meditation is, what is the state of meditation, we will try to understand with the mind, and we cannot understand with the mind what somebody experienced when he went beyond mind. So meditation is beyond the play of mind, thought, intellect, and ego. So the state of meditation dawns through the practice of concentration, or dharana. So by the grace of God and by the grace of the masters, deep state of meditation is possible. Without their grace, uh, deep state of meditation is not possible. So meditation is like a sleep. So sleep is a deep meditation without consciousness, because when we sleep, we have no consciousness. And we are in unconscious state. While meditation um, is deep sleep with consciousness. So meditation is like sleep, but in sleep we are unconscious. In meditation, we are fully conscious. So Sage defines the state of meditation as a state where there is a continuous, uninterrupted flow of knowledge. That is pratyaya, tata pratyaya. Pratyaya is knowledge. So practice, so we says that you should practice the art of concentration constantly. Then the meditation will come. And then regular and systematic practice of Kriya Pranayama will lead us to concentration and then to meditation. So again, we need to practice Pranayama. Now, the third, last limb, number 8, is Tadeva Arthamatra Nirbhasam Swarupa Sunyam Eva Samadhi. So it's the meaning of this verse is that alone, when shining in the light of object of meditation, as if void or empty, that is samadhi. So samadhi is a state when consciousness is completely directed towards the goal. Samadhi can also be described as enlightenment and trance and ecstasy. There are many ways to describe samadhi. But remember, dharana, dhyana, and samadhi. So dharana is concentration. So concentration is what? We fix the mind in a limited mental area. So mind is fixed in the narrowness of the path. Dhyana is the saturation of mind in love. And then samadhi is the state of superconscious state where all the narrowness is destroyed. It is a state of complete divine intoxication. So we'll try to understand this a little bit more, but um, uh, let me talk about one verse from Vishnu Purana, where it says when the mind is free from all imaginations and when we assume his true nature, then meditation will follow, and then through meditation, the state of samadhi will come. Now, to explain this samadhi, the sage is using two expressions. One is arthamatra nirbhasam, which is the shining of the goal. And second one is swarupa sunyam, true form appearing as void. Now, let's take the first one. It says, in meditation, there is presence of three. The meditator, which is dhyata, meditation, dhyana, and object of meditation is the is dheta. So in meditation is the process. So first we try to concentrate our mind, and it takes time to to focus the mind. If you remember, Patanjali says in his Yoga Sutra that tatra sthitau yatnaha abhyasa. What is meditation? What is the practice of meditation? It is the to rest. It is the yatnaha, means it is the sustained effort to rest in the stillness of the mind. So remember, this process of concentration is a sustained effort. He doesn't say how long it will take, because it depends upon our karma, it depends upon how much effort we make. But he says that it's the process. So we try to concentrate with using different techniques of Kriya Yoga. And as we progress spiritually, mind will become still, it will become gradually become calm and quiet. And ultimately, it will reach a stage when mind becomes completely still. There will be not a single thought. And when we reach that state, so until we reach that state, we have to use our effort, because in the beginning stage of meditation, it is not easy to concentrate. Our legs hurt, bones hurt, joint hurt. There is lots of restlessness in the mind, and to control it is very difficult in the beginning. But as we go deeper into our concentration and meditation, uh, ultimately, when we reach the perfect state of concentration, uh, the meditation and concentration will become effortless. So until we reach that state, it is our own personal effort. And then comes meditation and then comes samadhi. So this first part, stilling the mind, it is the most difficult part. It takes a very, very long time. It can take anywhere from few months to few years to several lifetimes, depending upon, as I said before, karma and how much effort we use. But we can ultimately you can reach that state. So this takes the longest time. And then meditation and samadhi, it comes to us by the grace of God. Without the grace of God, meditation and samadhi, they are not possible. So now again coming to, dhyata, dhyana and dheta. So when we meditation, we come to the state when state becomes a um, complete stillness of the mind. And when meditation comes to the state of saturation, then the first two, dhyata and dhyana, they will dissolve in the third one, object of meditation, which is dheta. And hence, only the object of meditation, or only the goal of meditation remains as a luminous one. So that is the first one. Second expression is Swarupa Sunyam. That is the uh, real form, our essential form. So this state appears as a nothingness, void, or great emptiness. So he says that with the perfection of concentration, meditation comes, and with the saturation of meditation, we are blessed with samadhi. Now, in Garuda Purana, he says that the object of our meditation appears everywhere. Or object of our meditation is experience, actually. We experience that everywhere. And this comes with the meditation. And one becomes free from duality. Such a state is said to be samadhi. So we can see from this state, from this explanation, that concentration, developing the perfect concentration takes time. Then by the grace of God, we reach to the no thought state, and we can remain in the state for a longer time. This is tatra sthitau yatnaha abhyasa. So we remain in the state for a longer time. And, and then by the grace of God, mind is saturated in divine love, which cannot be explained because meditation cannot be explained. And then finally comes samadhi. So as long as we are in the state of meditation, it is there is a duality. There is a notion that I am aware of myself. I want to become you. I want to unite with God. So um, and that is the divine love. So divine love is always starts with duality. It ends into unity, and that is bhakti. So bhakti, that is or bhakti or devotion. So so divine love cannot exist without without duality. Bhakti cannot exist without unity. So if you look to the last three uh, limbs of Ashtanga Yoga, in meditation, until we reach the state of saturation in love, it is called, there is a duality, me and God. I want to become one with God. Okay. Now Ramakrishna Paramhans, for him, Divine Mother was God, and he was going into the state of meditation, and he was always talking to Divine Mother, and there was duality. So his guru Totapuri told him that you must go beyond this. You have to go beyond Divine Mother. So when he was trying to go uh, beyond Divine Mother, he could not do that. As soon as we will start to concentrate, he will Divine Mother will come in front of him. So Totapuri took a pointed glass and poked it in between the two eyebrows. He started bleeding. He started feeling a lot of pain. And Totapuri, his guru, told him, now focus in this pain. Remember, the internal method of concentration is, as I said before, that focusing um, in the pleasure or pain. So he asked him, and then the Divine Mother image was totally shattered, and he went beyond Divine Mother, and he found himself as infinite consciousness. So this is samadhi. In meditation, we are duality, but in samadhi, it is without duality. It is just me and God. So that is the highest state. In samadhi, in meditation, it is me and God. In samadhi, it is only me. In scriptures, they say, Aham Brahmasmi. Or Jesus Christ said that be still and you know that God. So what he meant, to be completely still in your body and mind, not a single thought in the mind, and rest into that stillness of the mind for a longer time. Tatra sthitahu, tatra sthitav yatnaha abhyasa. Meditation is the sustained effort to rest in the stillness of the mind. When we can rest in the stillness of the mind for a longer time and not a single thought, then We will know when we reach the state of meditation and samadhi. And we know when we reach samadhi that I only exist. And we know that I am God. So that is the state of samadhi when we experience that I am the infinite consciousness. I had individual consciousness, now it is transformed into infinite consciousness. I experience that I am that infinite consciousness. I am God. There is no duality, and that is samadhi, and that is the highest state of happiness. Okay, so I think now we can meditate for um, for about 15 minutes. Okay, so please close your eyes, sit straight, normal breathing, and observe your breath. Breath is going in, breath is coming out. See who is breathing, where the breath is coming out, where his breath is going in. Try to see that. Concentrating between the two eyebrows. Go about uh, 3 inches inside your head, or maybe 7 to 9 centimeters inside your head. Our soul is there. Remain in that soul, love him, and observe the breath. Be very alert. Do not allow any thoughts in your mind. If a thought comes, just observe the thought. It will pass by, but do not dwell on your thought. Continuous attention in the soul center, observing your breath. Little attention in the breath. Now take slow, long, deep inhalation. Bring love within. Slow, long, deep exhalation. Spread peace and calmness. Slow, long, deep inhalation. Bring divine love within. Slow, long, deep exhalation. Spread peace around you. Slow, long, deep inhalation. Bring love within. Slow, long, deep exhalation. Spread peace, calmness around you. Slow, long, deep inhalation. Bring love within. Slow, long, deep exhalation. Spread peace. Slow, long, deep inhalation. Bring love within. Slow, long, deep exhalation. Peace. Slow, long, deep inhalation. Bring love within. Divine love. Slow, long, deep exhalation. Give peace and calmness to others. Take slow, long, deep inhalation. Bring love within. Hold the breath. Holding the breath, bend forward as much as you can, and then exhale. Normal breathing. Most of your attention is between the two eyebrows in the soul center inside your head. From there, watch your breath, breathing normally. Watch breath is going in, breath is coming out. Who is inhaling? Who is exhaling? Watch. Continuous attention in the soul center. Be very alert. Do not allow any thoughts. If the thought comes, just observe the thought. Continuous attention in the soul center. Little attention in breath. we are making efforts to go into the inner chamber of yoga, inside our head, where there is extreme silence. Because God is in silence, we cannot find Him in noise. So remain in that inner silence. Feel that peace and calmness. Calmness is God. God is calmness. Now take slow, long, deep inhalation. Hold the breath and sit up. Exhale. Normal breathing. Your concentration is between the two eyebrows in the soul center. About 3 to 4 inches inside the head or 7 to 9 centimeters. Remain inside your head in that inner silence, in that peace and calmness. Now take slow, long, deep inhalation. Bring peace within. Slow, long, deep exhalation. Spread divine love within. Spread divine love. Slow, long, deep inhalation. Bring peace within. Slow, long, deep exhalation. Spread divine love. Slow, long, deep inhalation. Bring peace. Slow, long, deep exhalation. Pure divine love. Slow, long, deep inhalation. Bring peace within. Slow, long, deep exhalation. Spread pure love. Slow, long, deep inhalation. Bring peace within. Slow, long, deep exhalation. Spread love around you. Slow, long, deep inhalation. Bring peace within. Slow, long, deep exhalation. Spread love. Now, normal breathing. Breathe normally. Between the two eyebrows, remain in the soul center. Soul is God. God is love. Remain there with love. Be very alert. Don't allow any thoughts. If the thought comes, just observe the thought. But do not entertain the thought. Now open your eyes. Keep your eyes open with a blank, unfocused look, still focusing within the two eyebrows in the soul center. Feel that peace and calmness. Enjoy this higher level of consciousness with a blank look. Thank you all. Sarve bhavantu sukhinah, sarve santu niramayah, sarve bhadrani pasyantu, ma kaschit dukh bhaga bhavet. May everybody be happy and healthy. May everybody see the auspicious sight. Let us not have a share in sorrows and suffering. Let everybody be happy, full of joy and bliss. Om Peace, Jai Guru. I bow to you all, bow to the living power of God abiding within you all. Thank you.